learn how to use your entire hand to do the assist. So learning to wrap. And one of the worst things that can happen in an assist is the fingers doing this. Because if your fingers are up off, then what happens is you put all the weight here in the heel of your hand, or it's just not as good. Okay, so let's take downward dog and I'll show you. And this is true for all your assists. Now, one thing to keep in mind is you want to start learning where the fullest part of the muscles are, like the belly of the tricep, the belly of the bicep. Here's her, the belly of her quadricep. Here's the belly of the hamstring. The inner thighs are kind of like right in here. So feeling where that thick part of the muscle is where you want to wrap your hands around. So from this, as I go in, see if I just go in like that and I push up, that doesn't feel so good. But if I go in and I kind of envision that I'm going deep. Does that feel better?
Oh.
You see where I am. I'm not pushing on her hips. That doesn't, what does that feel like, Sharon?
That doesn't feel
It doesn't feel as good, right?
Mm-hmm.
So up in here, does that feel better?
Yep.
See where I'm holding?
It's more stable.
It's more stable, and you're literally stretching out. So it's not just stretching on the back. That doesn't feel good. You got to get up into the Charmin. Okay. Good. And now come down. Diana, take down the dog. Me? Yeah. All right. This one? Yeah. That's okay. So that's rooting from that. That's a really good way to clear the lower back. This way, you're going to be doing inner spiral. Now, anytime you stand behind somebody, that's a little intimate. So and not only is it a little intimate, but I'm now going to reach between her legs. Okay, so you got to go in. You got to be like, when you know this. My feet are going to stabilize. See, I'm holding her shins. I'm doing shins in. I'm crisscrossing. I'm going to go in. See where my hands are? Belly of the hamstring. My fingers are closed. You do not want your hands wide because the thumb will end up somewhere it shouldn't be. Okay, now do the actions of inner spiral, right? What are inner spiral? In, back, and wide. Okay, inward, backward, pulling back, and wide. Okay, this is another way to do it. Take your strap. This is not quite as intimate. Slip the strap around the groin. Hold from the inner thigh. My strap is at the belly of her inner thigh, and now lean back.
That feels good. Oh, yeah.
So I'm just going to come right to Devika's thickest part of her calf muscle with my inner shins. That already gives her more stability. Mm-hmm. Like it's a message for her that she can soften and she just relaxed a little bit. Okay, and then to do the internal rotation, it's going to be a different action on each side, right? Because the right thigh, I have to reach around with the left hand, holding the front of the thigh, and then spin the hip down this way. When I do this side, I have to do the opposite, right? See? Looks like that, like a figure eight kind of. Okay, so now I'm just going to ask Devika, will you please lift your right hip up off the ground? So now I can grab her right hip. I scoop my left hand around to the front of the thigh, and then I spin her so the outer thigh comes closer to the ground and the inner thigh comes away from the ground. And then all the while I'm stabilizing the leg. Okay, and then from here, I do the other side. Lift your left hip up. Keep your leg down. There you go, Devika. And then I spin her. And you just relax. And I'm going to hold the pelvis, and I'm going to pull it towards her feet as she comes up for her back bit. See how her legs want to go out. So this is really stabilizing the lobes. Smile there. And that's the assist. And then we added one more thing when we practice. You can just press the calves down here. And she can feel that too. And come on down this view.
All right, so she's choosing to interlace her fingers. The first thing I will do is come to the meaty part of her calves and press down and watch her upper body as I press down. Yeah, so she can get a little deeper with the steadiness there. Now I am pressing release down, all the way down. I am not rolling out. I am not rolling in. I'm making sure that her legs are going straight back and then pressing down through the meaty part of the calf. The one thing I want you to be careful of, and I've personally not had this happen, but I've heard of it happening. Some people who have really bony knees, when you press down through the calves, it can actually hurt their knees. I've never experienced it, but you need to put it in your bank of knowledge to know that even though this is a strong assist, you want to be careful of knees. Okay? The second version of this, so take your arms down by your sides, take a breath and settle. And then do either version, whether you are taking your arms out like jet airplane wings or you're interlacing your fingers, either one. Take a big breath through side body long. Nice, there you go, head of the arm bones back. So I'm coming up to elbow height and I'm placing my hands around her, the front of her deltoids, okay? So I'm holding here. Now that feels good to begin with, doesn't it? Mm-hmm. All right, so I have my elbows on my knees because then I'm safe. And I'm going to encourage side body long. You got that? Mm-hmm. And then I'm going to gently do head of the arm bones back. There you go. Now, why would I not crank her up here? Yeah, because I care about her low back, okay? So I'm lengthening the side body and head of the arm bones back. Yeah, beautiful. Upper palate back. Beautiful. And then release. Nice. So you kept practicing that balance between shoulder loop and your upper palate back. This also feels really good to do actually. I'm going to place my feet beside her knees. I'm going to place my hands on her heels. Root your tailbone down and you pull back on their heels and press down. How's that feel?
Nice.
Tell me if and when your knee hurts. Pain? No pain? No. Okay, so this happens a lot. That what it is that without a spacer, like spacing the knee out, the kneecap, spacing the whole knee joint a little, then there's a crunching. So that your student reaches back, grabs the foot, and then there's a crunching. So how do you become the spacer without you having to be here to do this? Place your leg down. You can take a strap, fold it. I usually fold it up 4 times or more. That becomes my hand. Let's see if this works. So I'm going to wedge this in so that becomes just like my hand. Take a breath, lengthen. Good, and then reach back with your right hand, and let's see. Now start with the beginning, because you're not, part of it is you don't want to crank your leg down quite so far. Are you okay there? Mm-hmm. Okay, now slide your hand up around. Okay, are you okay there?
Yeah.
Okay, so for her, I think it was a spacing issue. This is really, really common.
With the assist, I'm going to put my hands right at the sacrum, and I'm going to pull back slightly and squeeze in at the bottom of the sacrum. So my hands are going to go like this, and like this, like this, and like this, right? So there'll be a little bit of hugging in at the bottom. I come in, I always use my legs, so you're not going to telescope out. It's just review of assists in general there. And then I'm going to stand and use my knees to support my arms. And that way, I'm not putting too much stress on the radiator cuff, right? Like not letting all the weight there, and I'm using my legs instead. So I hug in, right, at the, what's really the iliacus here. Grab the iliacus, pull it towards the sacrum, right at the SI joint. My thumbs are reaching here, and then I'm just going to gently pull back and down. So,
Are you pressing or pulling one?
or pulling, I think that. And it all depends, that is a good question. So you'll feel like some people go back really well, and you might just want to help them go down a little bit more, so you can put a little bit more weight down.
Where your heel with the hands on.
Yeah, almost like you're pressing, exactly. Okay, and then from here, so we'll practice that, and then you can take one hand right at the ilium again, and then up towards just under the shoulder blade, and encourage a diagonal stretch. You can even walk a hand up. And this hip is slightly more raised, so I just naturally went to that side first to give her a little bit more, but you can do the same on the other side too. So we're giving it a nice length through the spine. How's that feel? Tip over to the right. I'm going to reach under, grab your sitting bone, and I'm going to internally rotate your thigh all the way, because the internal rotation can go all the way through the inner foot. I'm going to give him that. Again, that's better, right? I would still have him sit on a blanket at that point, or a block. Okay. But we want him to be able to learn those actions for himself. So now, Tim, you try it. You can do internal rotation yourself, like this. You lean over and tip forward, find your own sitting bone, and then bring your sitting bone down as you internally rotate it. Yep. And then you can lean over this way. Now that'll just stay in place. Even grabbing the back of the thigh at the same place will be helpful. Sitting bone is the best because you actually move the sitting bones. Somebody that can do this doesn't so much need it.
It still feels good.
But it still feels good. Yeah. Your left side for you. And you can adjust, like all the way down. Feels so good. And you'll know, I don't know if you noticed, but she was sitting up taller after I did that. Because if you get your thighs back with internal rotation here, then it helps create the natural curve. So we always, and you can even use shin to stabilize. So I can start this direction because when you learned about inner spiral, where does it start? Foot. In the inner edge of the foot, and it goes up the leg, and it expands right up the leg. And it goes all the way up here and widens the lobe. That's why it feels good in your back, if you felt that. So I can stand to stabilize the shin. I can start at the knee even. We started up on the other one, which is also really effective, right? Because then you're at the core of the pose, but this is another way to do it. Lean to your right, because I couldn't, so I have to be like, Leslie, help me up. And I can go all the way up to the sitting bone and then sit back up. And then I can just, sometimes I'll be like, check that side, how's that feel? And then I can do the other side. She's flexible and she's strong. Okay, and then the same assist here. I can come in, see how I use my legs? Come in, squeeze the pelvis. When we're done, she can pull forward. She's gonna love, flexing people love this one. Because she'll tend to see how her butt tends to lift up. So I'm even gonna come, now that she's there, sorry, I'm sticking my butt out right in your face. And I squeeze my elbows.
It's almost like they're in child's poses.
Exactly, see the patterns?
Yeah.
Okay, and come on up. My stance is facing kind of away from her, right? So I'm facing the opposite corner that she's facing. And then I'm gonna use my shin like this, and I lift her up underneath the shoulders, I give her a boost, and then I encourage her twist to go across. We usually inhale to come out of a twist, which seems counterintuitive. But it creates more stability around the core and it's safer for the low back.
The opening of the chest I find easy in two ways. One, I will come stand above the person and take my hands and reach for their shoulder blades, and I'm going to press their shoulder blades on their back and give them an engagement into the back of the heart. So I'm going to come in, find her shoulder blades, and draw in. Does that feel good? Mm-hmm. So you draw in and lift up a little bit, and the head of the arm bones go back so beautifully. Press the upper part of your upper palate back. It's nice. The second is to take a soft fist and place the soft fist at the base of the heart. That's right where the bra line would be, and encourage the opening of the heart with the soft fist. How does that feel? Good. Yeah. And then release your hands and lower and just come down. Any questions about those two? Up into it. You can either do elbows and robot arms, or you can interlace your fingers, because both of those are beautiful, right? I'm going to come stand with my feet on the outsides of her feet, and bend. So that's stabilizing, right? I'm going to come down, and I'm going to place my forearms on her outer legs and hold on to her hamstrings and gently pull back. Now, as I gently pull towards her knees, I'm going to give her the instruction. Take a breath and lift your heart. Yeah.
You can sit down and push your foot onto her foot. And we're gonna go like this.
So you need another helper here?
Yes, thank you. And then I give her enough resistance. If she wants me to get, she can be like, Sarah, give me a little bit more give, then she can tell me. Otherwise, I'm just gonna keep pushing back against her. And she can find her own internal rotation on the back leg, if you can find it. And then her own external rotation on the front leg, see if you can find that. And now pull the rib cage up away from the pelvis and stretch your legs, which is a lot safer feeling here when you have something to push against in both legs.
Nice.
So I'll teach Hanumanasana like this in my class. And everybody can do this assist, right?
Yeah.
Like it's not that complicated, but doesn't it feel
Is
good?
that okay?
So then here, you can do it just on the board with a blanket, because it makes it easier, right? Or you can be on the mat, and then you slide out that direction. Okay, see how my leg wants to externally rotate? I exaggerated a bit there, but because subtly it wants to do that. So the whole time I'm practicing, I'm trying to squeeze in and internally rotate so it stays as even as I can make it all the way through. It's really hard to do that the deeper you go in the pose. I'm trying to pull this hip back at the same time. I'm going to step in with the soft part of my instep right to his outer heel, like that. And then I just make sure he feels okay there. Like I'm not pinching him or anything. Then I'm going to take this part of my palm, so the center of my palm, onto his shin. And then I'm going to use my forearm at his thigh. Okay, so I'm going to step this leg back so I get in a good position for my body to do that. So I'll step the side leg back. I bend my legs because it's good alignment. I try to use my extremities as much as I can when I'm doing assists. Okay, so then I place the hand. You can either go this way or this way. It kind of depends on the height and how comfortable you feel and the angle that you're at. So I'm going to go this way for Tim, but I'm going at the thickest part of his calf, and that's where I put my hand. And then I'm going to reach, so I'm going to step this forward now. This foot forward, you're dying in that leg because I'm taking so long. And I wrap my forearm around, wrapping the hand around, and then I'm going to widen shins. Shins in, thighs. You guys see it?
Out.
Thighs out. We're apart, right? And then now I give you the instruction, Tim, to squeeze the right buttocks under and bend your knee deeper. And you can stretch your arm over your ear. Yeah, take your right forearm to your thigh, sorry. Her foot's in the back plane, so I'm going to bring it in the front plane. Now I'm holding the ankle, I'm just doing shins in. She can do thighs out. And see how much more room she had to pull the buttocks under there. Good. Okay, so we've adjusted the back leg, and I'm just going to give a reminder. Thigh back. There you go. So this is called a directional assist. I'm just pointing, like, go that way. Because that's all she needed. Okay, and then scoop this. Okay. And then stretch your arm.
It's just there.
Okay, so this is the way in here. So I'm going to take the hand forward. I'm going to take this hand to the front of the arm, and then I'm just going to pull back and re-stretch. Okay, but this doesn't make as much sense if they're all out of whack on the bottom of the toes. That's why we started from the foundation review, and then we get to build on that. Okay, and then I can help her up. Inhale. None of those. So air assist, I'm coming at the side of my hip. So I want to honor her space. I don't want to just be like this when I'm assisting her. So I come in with the side. I take her out of the pose. I take my hand right under the head of the arm bone. So the palm goes under the head of the arm bone. You can grab your own head of your arm bone with your palm, do that. So not on it, that's not going to be as effective. You won't be able to move it. Under it, like that. Then you root it back. Then you take that hand and you just stretch the arms.
And now she opens her hip up, but she's not stacking her hips, right? If this student is struggling with balance so that she can't experience the pose and enjoy the pose, I can come in and just steady her right where her hip is. I'm not pushing into it because that's going to make her imbalance. I'll place my top hand on her hip and I'm stabilizing her bottom leg. Now bring your left hand to your hip, and I just have her pause there and get her steadiness. Now I may need to move just a little bit, right? So you have to be willing, and soft knees is going to be really helpful to you, not locking your own knees out. Now once I've got her steady, do you feel steady? Mm-hmm. Then stretch your top arm towards the sky. Now that her top arm's towards the sky and I've got her steady here, her back leg's in a beautiful position, I can place my top hand on the anterior deltoid and open her up. Now here's what I wanted to show you. I am pushing slightly forward and straight down with my hand, but I'm pulling back and opening up with my other hand. The thing that I don't want you to do is pull back on both, because that's asking your student to, yeah, sorry about that. That's asking your student to stack their hips. So from behind them, step behind and take the palm, the magic part of your palm into their triceps, wrap your fingers around. Externally rotate the shoulders, which is also drawing your triceps towards your nose, and then encourage length. Resist any urge to pull the arms in by the head and release. So you want to stabilize first, and I'm going to place my hand on her low back to stabilize, on her sacrum. There's two ways to assist this. My forearm across her forearms, take a breath, and gently press. So I'm stabilizing with one hand and stretching with the other forearm. And so when I'm stepping into Laura's space, I'm going to take a breath here and settle. And then I'm going to place the same hand on her sacrum. The other adjustment is more of a from the front, like from the head, and I'm going to place my hands up in her hands. Take a breath. I'll stabilize again, and then I'll lengthen. How's that? Okay. Do you want any more? Is that good?
More.
Yeah.
Are you basically just pulling, or are you
I'm
lengthening?
lengthening and pulling. Dealing with hyperextension right now. I'm dealing with a very specific assist. So I'm not going back. You may go, shouldn't she be a little lighter? You know, you could be saying all kinds of things in your head. I'm just dealing with the assist. So for this student, with more stable shoulders, I'm not likely to come in and crank her open, okay? I don't think that's safe. And so I would say place your hands on your hips, inhale and rise, and now hold on to a strap, shoulder distance apart. Okay, now take a breath, and fold forward. See how much further she goes? Woo, look at that. Okay, wow. Bend your elbows, bend your elbows. Those were your knees. There's your upper elbows. Isn't that funny how our brains work? There you go. So I think she's got a lot of beautiful stuff going on here. Yeah. Could I come in and do this? Yes, but I don't think I would. I think this is beautiful, and she's getting a lot more opening in her shoulders. Mm-hmm. So if your student is using a strap, that's awesome. Just let them use the strap and work with that. Okay, inhale and rise. Okay, so you come into the front of your friend. You wrap your entire palm so you're steady here. I like to draw my forearms towards each other and root straight down. How does that feel? Good. Yeah. And so this is the same action that you do when you tell your friend, root from your pelvis down through your knees and rise. Let your head be the last to rise. Do that now. And I keep rooting down as she rises up. Place your hand at the base of their skull, and now take a breath and settle. Inhale. Side body long, head down, nose back. And I'm just encouraging the loop of the skull lengthening as you release back. So if you want to reach back for your feet now, I'm just going to keep holding your head. This just feels so supportive. And so if you want to let your head go back a little bit more, I'm still going to encourage length from the base of the skull through the crown of the
Because
skull.
you're coming like out a
Yes,
little bit.
I'm lengthening this way.
Yeah.
Yeah, you did the best haircut, please. And now root from your pelvis down through your knees, root down and rise up. Now the head is the last to rise. I'm just going to stand with one foot in front and one foot behind. Do you like to kick up or do you like to pull in as a ball? Okay, so one leg is up and then the other leg. And I'm just holding her hips steady. How are you here?
Great.
Great, okay. Press down from your upper palate down through your head. Engage your legs. Okay, so now I'm going to relax myself a little bit. I'm coming up just a little to see how she is. She's in great shape. So I'm going to reach one hand up here and place my hand on her heels. And I'm going to press gently down.
That feels really nice.
Yeah, it's grounding her this way while she's pushing through her head and extending up through her feet. Then I'm going to put my hands back on her hips. So if she were to fall towards the wall, she's not going anywhere. This shoulder's going to catch her for anything. And now take one leg to the floor and the other leg and release. I want you to keep the curve in the neck, and that's why I teach using blankets. All right, when you are just practicing fingers down or holding the block, your shoulder blades will come on your back, knees come in, straighten your legs so they come over your face, engage your abs, push down and go up. Doing this practice, if you're not at the wall, you can let your legs come all the way down. You can come up, bend your knees in, stretch your legs up, lift, back and forth. Really, really good abdominal exercise. If you are here and your feet are on the wall, same thing. Shoulder blades on the back. I like to push down into the wall and lift my hips. This could be your very first foray in a shoulder stand right here. But notice I've got a curve in my neck. I can lift my chest towards my chin without drawing my chin towards my chest. It's a big difference. Okay, elbows in. So my C7 is a happy, okay? Is squeezing in. There's a little, remember the pencil test? All right, so half shoulder stand. You see how my spine is lengthened out kind of at a 45-degree angle, kind of dumping my hips into my hands. Then I lift one leg straight over my face and the other leg straight over my face. I am really working my outer shoulders down. I have the natural curve in my neck. I'm pushing back with my head, and this is comfortable. I won't even collapse to show you what not to do. But can you imagine if I let my shoulders come forward and went down further than that? I'm back on that C7. All right? So that's called a half shoulder stand. Walking your hands up your back and lengthening your spine so you're more vertical. You can go into full shoulder stand, and from full shoulder stand, you can come into plow. To come down, knees come in, roll back down, hands down, and feet back to the wall.
And I'll do the same thing. And Jill's got me. So the transfer was successful. And then Jill, fist between shins.
I'm not really worried about you very much.
And I squeeze in. Okay, and then another place is to put hand behind the heel. So one hand behind the heels. Yeah, that's another way. Put both hands on the heels and you can kind of push down a little. And then I can push back up. Okay, and then another way is this really light hand on the back of the heels.
Sorry.
Just one hand to the back of the heels. Light to the back of the heels. Instead of just that part. Yeah, there you go. And then I kind of pull away from her to find balance. Another place is between the thighs. Do that too. It's all to find, this is to find them, right? And the cool thing is like, you're like, oh my God, nobody's holding me up. It's a cool feeling. Because you go, oh, I can. It's a sensation of like, oh, I could maybe find my balance and hands too. Because nobody's holding. Okay, so you're just gonna root and lift this leg and try to get the hips over the shoulders. And then see if you can get your own leg up. You got it.
Yeah, you go.
And then push through your arms and stretch up through your legs.
That looks good, Jill.
Nice.
Yeah.
Okay, so Jill wanted me to go like this.
I did.
Okay, so she can squeeze them in line.
Ooh.
That's another way. So but
Yeah.
I can't do this until she's super stable here. Not a good idea. If they're going like this,
Jill's having panic
this
attacks.
is much more feeling like you're unmoored.
Gotcha.